Hello, and thank you for joining me today as we discuss how to demo Office 2010 to your customers. My name is JJ Antiquino. I'm part of the TS2 team here at Microsoft, and what we've heard from partners is when they're trying to do their own events and trying to throw their own demo fests, they have some trouble deciding what features to discuss and what to talk about with their customers. During this presentation, I'll go over some of the highlights that I use when I talk to partners who in turn are going to talk to their customers. We'll talk about how to set up this demo, and we'll go over some of the major products that you will be using when you speak to your customers about Office 2010. So stick around and enjoy. Now, in order to get started, you do need to set up a demo environment. So what I'm doing right here is I'm actually creating a live ID that I will be using to not only show how Office looks on the desktop, but how it also looks on the web with Office Web Apps. So here's ts2demo@hotmail.com. I'll go ahead and sign in here and show you what that looks like if you're not familiar with it already. And you'll see up at the top I have an option that says Office. Under Office, you'll see that Office Web Apps allows us to not only create new Word documents, new Excel workbooks, new PowerPoint presentations, but also new OneNote notebooks. We can set permissions here. We're able to share these documents out, and it's a great way to view your Office documents if you don't have Office fully installed on your PC. Now, step 2 in developing this demo environment is to go ahead and open up Word 2010. Once I've opened up Word 2010, I'm going to go directly to Save and Send. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to create a great sync experience during my demo to show customers how you can easily save your documents from your desktop directly to Microsoft Skydrive. If you have a SharePoint site available, you can do that as well. And that's also a great experience to talk about SharePoint 2010 with your customers. For our purposes right here, I'll just show you that we do have the ability to browse for location with SharePoint, but since we're saving to our live SkyDrive, I'm going to select Save to Web. I can now log in using the same credentials that I used to log on to my SkyDrive just a little while ago. So let me go ahead and select the Sign In button here. And we'll go ahead and start typing in TS2 demo. There it is. And we'll log in with our same password. And you can see some of the integration that's going on here. So we're contacting the server. What you see here are the folders that I actually have in my SkyDrive. It starts off with a standard My Documents folder, and I've created one for our demo purposes called Office Web Apps Demo folder. Now there's one last thing that I usually do when I'm creating one of my demos, but this is kind of optional. You may have some customers who are asking you about Google Docs. They're saying that they're a better alternative to using Office and paying for Office. So what I want to do is I want to start up a conversation with your customers about the pros and cons of using Office 2010 versus Google Docs. So what you're going to want to do in order to set this up is go to docs.google.com, and what you will also do here is go ahead and create an account. I've already created an account for myself, and it's actually the same live ID that I just used earlier. So that's ts2demo@hotmail.com. I'll go ahead and log on. And here you'll see an example of what Google Docs looks like. Let me go ahead and remind me later. And I'm going to leave this here for now, but let's go ahead and start the demo. Now the first product that I usually start off with is Word 2010, and the reason why is you've probably already set up your demo environment, you've set up that sync connection, and it's probably up and running already. So let's go ahead and open up Word 2010, and you'll see that we've got a blank document to start off with. Typically what I want to do here is I want to talk to my customers first about the ribbon and how it's changed a little bit between Office 2007 and obviously how there's a great big change from Office 2003. A lot of your customers are still on Office 2003. They haven't made the upgrade to 2007 and 2010, and so they're a little bit scared and wary of what could happen if they move to this new product and what it's going to mean for productivity to them. So I usually talk about the ribbon first, and what you'll see up here at the top obviously is that we have a ribbon that changes depending on the context of what you want to do. So if I want to insert a picture, insert clip art, the ribbon changes. If I want to change the page layout, that also changes. Reference, mailings, review, view. It's all pretty intuitive once you get used to using Office 2010. One of the changes that is kind of subtle but makes a big difference to a lot of users is the fact that we now have a File tab. If you recall with Office 2007, it was the Office icon up here in the left-hand corner. And I'll be honest with you, when I started off using Office 2007, I didn't even realize what I had to do in order to save or in order to print. But the good news is that we have the File menu here, and you see that we have the Backstage. And in the Backstage, I've got some options that you've already seen with Recent, New, Print, being able to save and send. And so let's go ahead and go back home. And what I'll do is create my blank document. This is pretty easy to do. You may not have any text on your page yet, but what I'll normally do is hit the equal sign, type in rand, and that's going to create you some random text. Do this a few times so that we have about a 2-page document. Alright, so now that we have this 2-page document, what I'll do from here is I'll show them some of the the quick previews that you're going to see using Office 2010. And incidentally, this was in Office 2007, so this is really a big wow factor, I guess you can say, for those that are still on Office 2003. So I'll go ahead and highlight some of my text here and show my customers that if I go ahead and select a different font, as I highlight each of my different fonts, the fonts instantly change. And so go ahead and click whatever font you like. I usually go with Algerian here. And I show the same thing will happen with colors. And so you get this quick preview before you actually decide what you want to do. And so let's go ahead and select red here. And lastly, I'll go ahead and do some font size changes and show customers how you get that quick preview there as well. And they're usually pretty impressed by this if they haven't seen Office 2010 yet. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and highlight a little bit of text again. Let's go ahead and select this paragraph right here. And I still have my left mouse button held down, but once I let go, you'll see that I have a little shadow here. And this quick toolbar allows me to very quickly change this to be underlined. Maybe I want to go ahead and highlight this whole series of texts. But without even making much movement in my mouse, I was able to do a lot. But a lot of your customers are saying, oh, well, that looks pretty good, but I can do that in Office 2003 and I can do it pretty quickly. So here's where we start throwing in some other items and jazz up this little document and make it even more robust. So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and insert a table. And what's great about the table is that it's on the Insert tab, first of all, but you get a quick preview of what the cells are going to look like, something that's not available in Office 2003. So I'll select Table, and I will go ahead and scroll over here. Let's go ahead and select a 6x5 table. And instantly, what happens when I select that table is I now have a new contextual tab. In this contextual tab, I can decide, do I want that table to be red? Perhaps I want it to be purple. Maybe I want to see the individual cells. And here's where you get the oohs and ahs out of your customers that are still on Office 2003. One of the jokes that I always make, and I'm pretty famous for saying this if you've seen one of my demos before, is I say, okay, I want you to go to one of your Office 2003 customers and ask them, can you do this in as short a time as I can? If you can change the colors of all your cells in this amount of time, I will give you $1 million. And usually you get a couple chuckles out of that, but that's my sense of humor, just so you know. What we'll do from here is we'll go ahead and insert a picture. And let's go ahead and insert our picture here. I've got my demo folder, and in my demo folder I've got a picture of my little puppy. So what I'm going to do with this puppy is I'm going to go ahead and instantly resize it. What you've seen up here at the top is that there is a contextual tab that's also popped up. And with this contextual tab, I now have a lot of different options that I can use to edit this picture with. And this is something that's very important to convey to your customers. You can let them know that they don't have to learn multiple types of applications to create great looking documents. So I don't have to open up Photoshop or some other photo editing tool in order to make modifications to this puppy picture. I can now go ahead and put a border around it. I can give it a little bit of a drop shadow. Maybe I want to go ahead and do a full shadow or full reflection here at the bottom. Maybe the color is not what I want, so I go to color and I can change the color so that perhaps I want it to be red. Or maybe I want to change the color so that it's going to be black and white. What customers also say is, well, that looks pretty good, can you do some more? And yes, we can. Let me go and change the color back to what it originally is. And you'll see that under Artistic Effects, I can now put that puppy into kind of like a watercolor look. I can go to Artistic Effects and even give it a cross-stitch type look. Now what's good about this as well is that now I have created a great looking document without much work. So this document looks great, but there's a lot of white space around it. And what I'll do from here is I'll show that customers can take that picture and position it up here at the top with a quick preview, maybe over here in the middle of the top right hand corner. And let's go ahead and put it here in the middle for now. And we realize that looks pretty good, but I'd like to have my text on top of the picture as well. All you've got to do is simply drag and drop that picture to exactly where you want it to be. What we want to do now is we want to save this little document in two locations. First, locally on the desktop, and then we want to save it up to our Office Web Apps location on Skydrive. So let's go ahead and select File, and under File I'll save this document and Save As. Under Save I've created a demo folder here for us, and we'll just call this Puppy. And actually I'll call this Puppy Before, and you'll see what's going to happen during the demo in just a little bit. I also have the ability here to go to File and then Save and Send and select Save to Web. If you recall, we set this up a little bit earlier, so I've got this ready to go, smooth experience. Let's save this directly into our Office Web Apps demo folder. And I'm going to call this Puppy Before as well and hit Save.